Welcome back to the channel. So straight in, Liam is here to take that windscreen out. That can only mean one thing, can't it? So off with the scuttle panel, off with the wipers, straight round with his bit of wire, all self-explanatory. You've seen me do it many times. Remove the camera inside and the light unit, windscreen out, all done. Welcome back to the channel and a new video. So we see Liam cut the windscreen out. That can only mean one thing. For those of you that haven't seen this car yet, BMW M4 Competition 2021 71 reg. We have previously done 2 videos for this car and this is the 3rd video obviously. So what a mess inside this one is. It has got every airbag gone off, so complete dash. I know a lot of you are going to put in the comments, why don't they put a cassette in the dashes like they used to? And I don't know the answer to that, but it would be ideal, wouldn't it? Steering wheel airbag, knee airbag, curtain this side, it's been tucked back in, that's gone. Curtain passenger side, that's gone. All of the seat belts you can see, they've gone. So a lot of work to do on this car. And also we have found another surprise with this car that is going to be very expensive if we can't save it. And I'm going to show you that a little bit further in the video. So complete airbag kit, of course, we got from Reclamet. And I'll be the first one to admit, I'm a little bit scared on this one. I've never done a car with heads-up display. I'm sure it's going to be absolutely fine, but nevertheless, I need to take real care with this one and start by getting them seats out. And I don't normally take the seats out to do a dashboard, but I do not want to mark those seats. I've just looked at the dashboard and it actually all looks fairly reasonable to do. So I am just going to crack on and get a load of the hard work, load of the messy stuff out of the way so you can actually see what I'm doing. Like, let's get these seats out. Let's get the roof lining out of the way. Let's get the driver's airbag out. You kind of get my gist of what I'm saying. Let's get some of it stripped out so you guys can see what I'm doing. So this is literally 4 bolts holding that in, 4-star drives. Once that's out of the way, I'll crack straight on with loads and loads of little star drives. That is all it is. Every single bolt looks identical. There's no difference in length, no different in the size of the washers, but there is quite a lot of bolts, screws holding it in. So we get all of them undone. Move on to the passenger side, exactly the same there. Loads behind the trim and they're all out. I managed to get quite a bit out there. So steering wheel airbag, very straightforward. You've just got these 2 springs and you've got the 2 little holes in the steering wheel. You poke a screwdriver in. This is my airbag screwdriver of choice actually. That's the only thing we use that for. It's got a lovely end on it that's not too sharp, so when you put it through the hole, don't cause any damage. First I got that out of the way, then the curtain airbag, knee airbag. 1 10mm that side, 1 10mm that side, and just 1 wiring plug. And it created all of this room. But what I will say is you got to be so careful with this car. Of course, with the carbon bits in it, all the silver trims, the leather, you just got to take extra care. Now I know just through looking at the other dash through there that there's 2 bolts behind here, and you can actually probably just about see that screw and that red clip there. Now that is bolting the centre console to the dash, but of course that wasn't all that was holding it. So this back cover, it's got all of the USBs on it, heater controls, there's so many wires going to it, but 2 10mm under there that was exposed, and underneath that actual rubber mat, I've put it back down so I can keep everything in there, was another 2 screws. So I undone them, put the rubber mat back in, started storing the stuff in. Then I moved to the front cup holder and you can see there's 2 holes in there. I'll remove the screws out of that, and that exposed the other 2 10mm for the centre console. This little cover, you have to actually pull it off and then gently prise up that piece of carbon fibre. You can see how many clips it's got on the back of it. It was very tight, but of course you don't want to be buying a new one of them. I should imagine it's ridiculous amounts of money. So I'm hoping I'm not going to have to remove this at the moment. I can see through there, see that white cover? That I should think is the airbag module in there. So you are going to get to it through removing that. But at the moment, I don't want to remove it. So you remove that, and then this actually comes out. Again, all clips on the back of it. You can see it's got a hook on the end. And that actually exposes that screw. And we've got the same the other side. So I'm not going to waffle too much. What I am going to say is, when I park the car up, I've put it into neutral, disconnected the jump pack, and I've chopped the wheels with a piece of wood. And that is purely, if it starts raining, I can quickly wheel it in and not have to try and start it up with the steering wheel missing, etc. So let's just carry on, and slowly but surely we're going to get there. It is very, very tight. All these clips hold everything so tight, so there's no rattles or any noise. And of course, you've got to be extra careful. Let's carry on. So steering wheel off, tape up the squib. Always tape up the squib. I'm undoing a load of bolts here and just moving this centre console backwards. But later in the video, you'll see I actually really should have probably taken it right out. We do get round it, but it would have been a lot easier. So again, same size screws in there, holding that in inside the cup holders. Load a couple on the top there on that heads-up display, and I think we're good to go. Right, it's looking like the heads-up display, the stereo. So the stereo is actually behind here. The screen is not the stereo. All stays behind. So fingers crossed. I mean, there might be one or two wires, but fingers crossed, I think we got it. If I'm honest, and I'm going to be honest, taking that centre console out probably would have been easier than all that hassle I've done with just moving it back, because there's only a few more wires and I could have took it out. You live and learn. Rest that there, see if there's any more wires attached. Don't look like there is. Have we done it? I can't believe that. And I'll tell you what, guys, I'm going to tell you something else really, really interesting now. A lot of you are going to say, well, how are you going to deal with that one? But I have just been on the phone and dealt with it. Let me show you. Dashboard comes out with a chassis number on it, and you can't change it. I've just rung BMW. I've emailed him a picture of the V5 and my driving licence. We've got a new serial number coming, so we'll peel it off that dash before the windscreen goes in and stick it in. But heads-up display stays exactly where it is, and of course that radio stays where it is. I know a lot of you are going to say, do you remember where all the bolts go back together? But like I said in the time lapse, they're all exactly the same. I've only taken two 10mm nuts out, and that was for that knee airbag. I've only taken four 10mm bolts out, and that was for that centre console. The rest of it was those screws. Oh, sorry, and the little 8mm there. Last minute, I removed the squib and the stalks. I think the key to this is, a lot of you say, how do you remember, Rob? We're going to get that dashboard and we're going to put it straight back in here and start doing a few bolts back up, because I've took loads of pictures. I'll get it in here, locate all the wiring, make sure it's seated properly. You can see it's got a seat on these. These are your actual main ones for your airbag, for the passenger airbag. Get that bolted up, get all of the major securing bolts all lined up and start doing them up. But that heads-up display, I guess it would pay to just get those bits of glass off there before we put this back together and have a good blowout in there with the airline. Right, let's get that new dash over here and get it in. But this speaker, you can see I've removed it, didn't actually need to. The wiring stays on the dash. Not a lot of wiring. Yeah, look at that. Let me just come round now. Our passenger airbag. Oh, it hasn't melted, has it, the plug? So, oh, I don't know. Yeah, it has. Has it? No, it hasn't. Just that surround bit there's melted. But yeah, completely useless this dash. You can send them off to Germany and it's about £800 to have it redone, but we got a new one, haven't we? Let's get this out of the way and get it in. So in with a new one, and of course I've done it a little bit different this time. I'm going to stick a couple of screws in and just make sure all of the wires are located in the correct place so that they're hanging out and you don't screw it down and you've got to undo it all again to pull the wires through. So once that's done, I'll start sticking the screws back in, but I haven't done any of them up. Just get it all in position, make sure that they're located, and then just go round and buzz them all up. There are two big ones behind that panel for the airbag. They need to be done up first and they pull the dash tight, but it looks like it's all in there. Just continue putting it together. Oh, I got lucky there. It has just started to rain. You can see it's just starting to spit on the dash and I'm going to need to get it inside. I haven't put this airbag in. I thought I'd do it after I'd finished. There we go. Dashboard's all in, everything's gone back together, lovely. I did just look in that airbag kit and it comes with a new module, so I'm just going to confirm that that's right. And of course, as usual, I went off in a complete different direction to I started this video, didn't I? I said, let's get the roof lining out and do the curtain airbags, and they're awful. I need to do the curtain airbags and the seat belts. We've got all 4 seat belts, so there's no point trying to see if one's okay, trying to see if we can, like that one there, the likelihood is there's not going to be a lot wrong with it, but do you want to take a chance when you've got to change that one over there? So the back seat's going to have to come out or be moved anyway, and of course those curtain airbags. One thing I will say, we got no screws left, by the way, no screws at all, but we did have 2 of these left, and for the life of me I thought, well, where have I took them out of then? Because I've took them out of somewhere, and of course it was those A-pillar covers earlier on that I took out, so I've popped them screws back in there so I know where they are. But doesn't that look better? It really does. The airbag, you can hardly actually see it, it's right under there, you can see it's all bolted back in correctly. Everything's back on how it should be. I'm hoping it does run without the airbag module plugged in, because of course I've removed that and I need to cut this short now and get it in the workshop. It did actually turn out that it's not as bad as I thought it was going to be, but still quite a lot of work. Anyway, we'll pick up in the morning. The bit I said I'd elaborate on a little bit later in the video. Guys, this battery is a lithium ion. It weighs next to nothing, but you can see it all screws together. And we've had this little lithium charger on it, smart charger, for 2 days, and that battery is completely flat. Now it's a 50-50 if it is knackered or not. I know that these lithium ion batteries, once they go dead, they go to sleep. So what I'm actually going to do, Josh over at JR has got a proper charger, and he said, Rob, drop it over and I'll chuck it on it, and then we'll just leave it there for the day. We've got nothing to lose, have we? So I am going to go and get that dropped off to him, and then we'll see how he gets on with it. If not, we're going to have to buy a new one, and that is £620 plus VAT trade to us. That is a big expense. 2021 car, that's got to have some life left in it. It's got to repair, surely. So let's get that dropped off to Josh.
Right, so we've got a battery here. Now, obviously, they're all getting very clever and intelligent now. These batteries actually do come apart. I've got a multimeter here, and that's on millivolts. So I'll just get the range, so you can see it is 0. There is nothing in that battery. However, as with everything getting more and more complicated these days, once we unbolt the side of the battery, you can see this extra yellow wire here. Now, that is actually a module in there, so there is a computer inside the battery. So not only have you got 50 million modules in the car and computers in the car now, you actually have got a module in the battery, and when it gets low, it switches it off. Not 100% sure, but I do believe this is partially down to a potential fire risk. And yeah, it's to protect the battery anyway. So I say we've got the terminals here, we've got no volts, but in the individual cells we will have voltage. I don't know what it is, I haven't looked yet. Cable's come out. So not a lot, but there is something. Right, so the cells, oh, so it's only got half a volt in that cell. Half a volt. Oh, so it is quite low, but you'll see that if we actually go directly on the battery contact, it has only got about 1.7 volts, so it is low. So that does reduce the risk, the chances of being able to save it, but I'm sure we will. So we'll put it on a proper battery charger on these terminals, and once it gets up to voltage, this will click into place, and the battery will actually come back to life. Just a word of warning: if you ever do decide to play with a lithium-ion battery, if you ever do have a fire or anything like that, don't throw water in it. Although you will get a spectacular display, you will make it 10 times worse. You do need the proper fire extinguishers in place, but I'll get the charger on it and show you what we're doing. Right, so we've got a charger here, and we will select lithium and just leave it on auto. So rather than putting it on the terminal, we've put it on the actual battery, and that is the charger is just picked up. So this here is basically a massive switch, electronic switch. So when the voltage gets low, it's disconnected it from here, from the actual battery to here, the terminal. So now we've got on here, it picked up, it was 1.7, it's already got it up to 3.9 in just seconds, although that will only be, it won't be fully charged, and now the screen's gone off. But you can see that LCC flashing, low current charge, so it knows the battery's depleted. And this is quite an intelligent machine. It will all just automatically set up how it needs to in the best way to recover that battery. Sometimes it charges it really high amperage and low voltage, and sometimes vice versa, and it will pulse up and down. I'm not 100% sure what it does on a lithium. This is the first one we've used it for, but we'll leave it on the charger, and I'm sure it will charge, and there'll be a click in that battery, which no doubt we won't be able to get on film, and that battery will be ready to use again. And there you are, you can hear that click. That's the battery coming back to life as it's getting some charge in it. So we'll leave it to charge and put it back together. And you can see now we have got, if I just put this multimeter, so this is the actual terminals. You can see we've got 12.9 volts there. That's not fully charged. I switched the charger off. I was just going to put this battery back together now. Now that's all clicked, as you heard. Put it back together, leave it on charger, and as soon as it's done, it can be picked up. And you can see 13 volts up there, so we'll just finish the charge off. And as I say, as soon as it's charged up, one battery reset, bit of saving to be made.
Very, very clever man, that Josh. I know I say it every time he does something for us, but he saved us a small fortune there. That battery is healthy, it's completely back to normal, and now we can bolt it in. We have just had a normal battery in there at the moment and a jump pack to start it, so it'll be nice to get that in. Also forgot to mention, we got this, and of course this is part of your airbag kit, and this is our new battery terminal with the pyro. You can see where it plugs in, and of course in part one you see our one was exploded, and Chris literally sort of taped it back together so that it'd start. So we need to get that fitted as part of the airbag kit as well. And then already this morning I've got that driver's side curtain airbag fitted, only because once I took the headrests out, the roof lining dropped down enough. Where the curtains had gone off, it had already pulled, of course, like the B pillar, it had pulled it past that anyway. So I've done that. I've undone a couple of the clips on the passenger side. What I will say about these curtain airbags as well, you can see that blue, it says left hand on it, and it's got the blue line on it, and of course there's the new one, and the driver's side's actually red, so you can't get them mixed up. Right, I'm going to continue, get these clips undone, they're quite difficult to do. You've got to get two little picks in there. I'll get those removed, you're not going to see anything. You can get the roof lining back in out the way and continue with the seat belts and of course the battery. That's the console all back together, all completely done. And what else have I done in here? Curtain airbags both in, sun visors all back on, all clipped up, and you can see this side I've just fitted a new seat belt. It didn't look like it had actually gone off, but Chris is here today, so I just got him to do a ohms test on it, and it was actually had 0 ohms on the old belt, and this one had, do you know what, I can't actually remember. Just remove these parts of the back seat out, these edges, and then of course I had to remove the parcel shelf, but it was I thought it was going to be difficult, but you had like 4 pin clips, and you just pulled them out, removed the little covers off I've got the parcel shelf up there you can see it, and where the seat belts come through, I just had to pull the little clips off. I've probably got one here actually, there you go. Just what the seat belt comes through, you pull those off, and the parcel shelf just pulled out. So I'm going to swap both of those seat belts out, get this all built back up, and then move on to that passenger side one. Well, actually, I am going to do that before I put it all back together, because once I'd clipped all this home and got it all back, it clipped in here, but it's just too loose. That one's not like it. So I don't think those top clips have all gone in. So I'm going to make sure that I'll get those in first. But so far, so good. And to be honest, it's all going very, very well. Hopefully, we're going to get a phone call in a little while. I'm just waiting for a cable to arrive, Ethernet to OBD for BMW. And we can get linked up to someone on a computer and get that steering reset so that we're able to drive it. But I'll just continue on doing these. Of course, you can't actually see anything while I'm working in here. So I'll just get on and get it done. Nice productive couple of days there. Really, really happy. That is the complete airbag kit done. All 4 seat belts, both curtains, the module, dashboard, steering wheel, and the airbag. There's so many. I did just plug it in and do a code read, and there is 8 major faults within the airbag system itself. And that is purely the airbag module that I put in has got the wrong chassis number in it. It needs a chassis number for this car. So the guy that we've got is that he actually can't come till Monday. He's going to code the steering, and he's also going to code all of the seat belts and the module and everything else that needs coding. And we're going to plug a lot of other stuff in and just get him to clear down all of the major stuff that we can't do because it is coding. So the headlight, we're going to be using our original modules. They did survive. But if for any reason there's something wrong with them, well, it's going to be the same price that he comes out and codes all the other stuff. We'll get him to code in that headlight while he's here. Really, really happy. I was even going to get the windscreen fitted, but we can't until that chassis number arrives, and that is 3 to 10 working days. Drew did say it should be within 3 days, so hopefully that turns up early next week and we can crack on and get that done as well. Huge thank you in this video to Josh at JR Vehicle Services. Again, saved the day and saved £620 plus VAT, and that was trade to us for one of them batteries. Unbelievable. But I've had it on this car all day. I fitted that live lead in the boot, and it's absolutely perfect. So unfortunately, that is going to be the end of today's video. As usual, if you did enjoy it, we'd appreciate that thumbs up. Don't forget, you can follow us on Instagram at Salvage Rebuilds, and of course you can follow Chris on his personal one, on his jollies, at Salvage Rebuilds Chris. We'll look forward to seeing you all very, very soon in the next one.